Hello, awesome folks. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're going to look at the next short story in this Unreal and a Real collection by Ursula K, LeGuin's, which I'll link to you in the comments below. This is 37 pages long. It's called Betrayal. It's about 7 pages longer than the previous one, the Shovey story, that I knocked out a couple of days ago for you folks. And it's roughly the same length of time. That one took me about an hour and 5 minutes. This one took me about an hour and 8 minutes. It was barely longer. I definitely got into it. I would say that this one is harder to get into the rhythm of it, but then once I got to it, about halfway into it, I thought it was a lot better, and I loved its ending, and I thought it picked up a lot of momentum, and so forth. So I think that it was definitely a stronger short story than the Shovey story that we've been doing a deep dive for you folks. Ursula K. LeGuin's was a big name in fantasy and science fiction with her fantasy stuff with the Wizard of Earth decades ago, and which was a key part, and then science fiction with things like the Left-Handed Darkness and such, the ones who walk away from Omelas and such like that. So those are some key works that she's won. She won tons of Hugos and so forth, and a beloved author. That's decades and decades ago. And since the name of this channel is the worst thing about new books, we'll just say quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And so somebody who wrote decades ago, like Ursula K. LeGuin's, for a lot of her classic stuff, is definitely somebody who's beloved. So, as a reminder, this collection, The Unreal and the Real, is divided into halves. The first half is stuff that's not in fantasy or science fiction, and the second half are. Like yesterday's work that I reviewed for you folks, the Shovey story, this one, Betrayal, is also set in the world of the Left-Handed Darkness with a colony of people from that planet. So we're going to be, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in this and so forth. Like the previous one, there's a lot of descriptions and stuff of things that don't come up later on in the short story that are just there for world building and that sort of a thing. So if it was a chapter in a novel, a long chapter, it's 37 pages, but a chapter in a novel, right? Or maybe divided in 2 or 3 chapters, then it probably would read better and so forth. And if you're interested in doing a deeper dive into the world of the Left-Handed Darkness and stuff like that, it also makes sense to grab too, but I just don't feel like it stands up as well, just like the previous short story, because there's just got a lot of plot and description and so forth, and world building that doesn't apply to the plot. Like there's no it's not like a Chekhov's gun, right? Where if you come across a gun on a stage, right, it's going to be a part of the plot, right? Or otherwise you just don't put the gun on the stage, right? It's the same thing, right? There's a lot of those sorts of things that are added and so forth. But again, I liked it. I thought it picked up momentum. And I liked it better than the Shovey story yesterday that I reviewed for you folks, that I knocked out a couple of days ago and then reviewed yesterday for you folks. So there you are. So I liked this overall. And I gave Shovey story a 7 out of 10. So I'm probably going to be giving this also a 7 out of 10, although this is probably more like a 7 plus and so forth. But I did like, so they're getting about the same rating, but I did like this one better for you folks, because I thought it was a weaker start, but a stronger ending. And I'd rather have a weaker start and a stronger ending than a weaker ending but a stronger start, right? I mean, I'd rather end well than I'm sure most people would too. So there you go. That's Betrayal. So in this short story, basically, our point of view character is an older woman who's past retirement and so forth, and she's out in a field in the rural area of just a couple hundred people in the local town, and she basically is in an old abandoned building and so forth that a lot of folks will go to and move to that are abandoned because nobody really minds or cares or owns the land in this world, this colony of the planet in the Left-Handed Darkness. It's fun. I thought it was interesting. So she's moved in. Now we'll find out more about her life, her adventures and such. That's basically what's happening, and that's the key part of this story for you folks. As a reminder, I started doing a deep dive into her science fictions after I heard about the ones who walk away from Omelas, a Hugo Award winning, that's decades ago, had heavily influenced a Star Trek, Strange New Worlds season 1 episode that I liked and had never heard of it or read it. So I picked this up to read it and see what I thought about it, and I liked it. So I figured, well, I have the collection, let's go ahead and knock it out, right? And so that's how I picked this up and came across this and such. So there you are. Also, like I mentioned before, her stuff is very, very influential in modern stuff. For example, the Wizard of Earth series that I mentioned before in fantasy created the for young adults. It's 6 books long. It created the concept of a young highly talented wizard studying at wizard school, like Harry Potter from that series by J.K. Rowling, and other things that's influenced, right, and so forth. So that's where that came from. Ursula K. Was a diversity. So that's an example of how popular and beloved it is. Many of her works are considered classics in her genres, right? And are bought today for you folks. So there, that's Ursula K. LeGuin's Betrayal. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for you folks. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button? There's been a lot more of these to follow. And if you're feeling frisky, hit the bell too. If you've read this, just let me know what you thought about it. If you agree or disagree with my 7 out of 10, let's talk about it in the comments below. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.